Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and CA just released a big map. We'll cover the rest of it, but first, let's cover what it is in general. It's going to be the starting positions of all the factions in the game, theoretically. However, there are still some exceptions. We'll go over this. This is going to be the main display, and there are some more down here, but let's cover this. The main ones that they revealed right through here are basically the ones that are announced as the main playable factions: the Empire, the Greenskins, the Dwarfs, and the Vampire Counts. And each of these, you can see their emblem is larger, and they're at the head of kind of similar type of factions. So for example, the Empire is at the top, and then below those you have all of the different electorate counts. Greenskins are at the top, and then you have a bunch of the different clans under them, which include Crooked Moon, which is probably going to be the Night Goblin clan, which is cool. The Dwarfs, just generically named the Dwarfs, are at the top, and then you have the different Krakadrak, I think that's misspelled, Karakizor, and yeah, so there you go, all the different Karaks. We'll go over the map soon. Vampire Counts at the top, and then Templehof and the other guys supporting them. Bretonnia itself being pretty much at the top of this whole section here. So this is interesting because what this shows me is you have the first top four, which are going to be released. And with Bretonnia on the side, the head of its own section of similar factions, what that seems to indicate to me that Bretonnia is very likely going to be one of the major initial DLCs, and CA did announce that at the launch of the game there's going to be a free DLC. Perhaps we could see Bretonnia making a reveal right through there. So that's pretty interesting to see that, and just in the way they presented this. Down at the bottom, there are more factions that don't necessarily fit into these big major categories. So Thalia, Thalia, Border Princes, Varg, Scaling, Kislev, and Chaos. Chaos we know is going to be its own playable faction. I'm not going to get into that can of worms as to how you can play it. Yeah, there you go, there it is. Kislev was something we saw that was going to be available at the end turn video that I showed. You'll see here that they didn't have any mention of Wood Elves or any mention of the Skaven. So that's interesting to see. Let's go over and pivot to the map. Now we can take a look at the map itself. You can see all the factions spread out everywhere. So this is where we see the starting locations for the different factions. The Greenskins up here in Death Pass, and then a bunch of the Badlands here being filled with all sorts of other Greenskins that you can fight. You have the Night Goblins right next to you being an interesting threat, and then you have various Karaks kind of dotted around you. So that's where you're going to be fighting for the most part. The Dwarves here in the center, we can see them in the center of just a bunch of not friendly factions, obviously, so that'll be interesting. To the south, Estalia, Thalia, Border Princes, and all that. It's pretty obvious. I'm glad we're starting to see kind of how the different opposing factions are spread out. So, for example, up here in Bretonnia, you can see up in the mountains, actually some of the Greenskin tribes who are going to be raiding down and trying to attack the Bretonnia. And because of the way that basically settlement capturing works, you can have this settlement up in the mountains that's going to be from the Greenskins, and Bretonnia is not going to be able to necessarily capture and occupy the Greenskins. They can only ever really raise it and then recolonize it. So that'll be interesting. Over here in the nooks in the mountains, you have Dwarf and Karaks, and then also this emblem here with the skull on top of it is the Empire Secessionists. We haven't heard anything about that previously, but yeah, that's cool to see that they are present, and that's where they're located. Pretty much right next to the main Empire faction itself, with Sigmar right under the emblem there. So perhaps an early game faction, they have to deal with the secessionists at first, and perhaps even win them to your cause. So you can start to see some mechanics developing along those lines. Also, while we're in that region, notice that nothing is mentioned here for the Wood Elves. And if we go down towards Thalia and Estalia, this is where you'd imagine you would see Skavenblight right between the two. No mention, no room for Skaven here. So looks like they're not going to be here at launch, but CA has said previously that they do intend to cover all major playable factions at some point in the trilogy. So we know that these are going to get fleshed out eventually, retroactively plugged into these gaps. So I imagine for the time being these will be impassable, and CA will make these areas available later on when they expand the map. So that's pretty interesting. Another thing I wanted to point out, well, Kislev is here, which is always interesting to see. I want to see what unique units they gave them. But if we go back over here to look at the different greenskins, actually one of them that is missing here is going to be a greenskin clan called the Skull Takers. And people were wondering, hey, how come these aren't showing up on the list or the map? And Grace from CA actually confirmed that they are going to be on the map. The reason they're not shown here is because they start off in a horde mode, spread out around the map. So that's really cool to see that there are greenskins in horde mode roving around. I imagine they will be doing something similar when it comes to chaos armies kind of roving and marauding around. But if you do decide to play as chaos, they are starting up in the chaos waste, kind of sequestered off to their own. I really wonder how they're going to play as a faction, how on earth that's going to work. I mean, you're in a corner. What are you going to be doing to bide your time? Who can oppose you? So this will be very interesting to see how chaos plays out, being so safe in the corner there. So yeah, that's kind of most of the stuff that I took away from this map itself. Again, the takeaways are going to be, if we look at the roster here, Bretonia being a sensical free LC or DLC coming up. Another thing is the inclusion of a horde faction running around, and then also the omission of Skaven or the Wood Elves. Interesting, but we do know that they're going to make an appearance in the future. So that is most of what I could discern from this reveal itself. Really cool. I'll link to this special map where you can zoom in closer, take a look at everything. Very exciting stuff. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, definitely stay tuned for more. See you in the next one. Peace out.